21 at Ario House in Kaduna. He titled it North in Nigeria, Addressing Our Challenges Together. I have great pleasure in welcoming Your Excellencies and participants to this historic summit. Organizers of this summit, which includes all participants in this great hall, are grateful to Allah for the opportunity to lower barriers between Northerners and between people and their leaders, so that we can all own our problems and collectively seek solutions for them. I salute the statesmanship, leaders and members of many groups, as well as many Northerners and associated with any group for accepting to collaborate in this historic summit. I'm particularly glad that many groups and individuals here had extended a positive hand to our governors in the North, as much to assure them of our desire to work together, as well as remind them of the burden which circumstances at this particular junction of our history have created for their leadership. I have no doubt that this summit will register the type of impact the gathering of leaders, elders, and committed Northerners will generate. These remarks represent my personal opinions, since this summit will undertake its own evaluation of the circumstances of the situation under which Northerners live in Nigeria today, and arrive at its own conclusions. I pray that God will bless our intentions and guide our deliberations and conclusions. The massive support behind this summit is evidence of renewed commitment to deploy the entire assets of our region behind an exercise that critically analyzes the nature of our challenges and collectively works to resolve them. Northerners are not new to problems. Indeed, our basic DNA as Northerners in Nigeria is structured around dealing with problems. And the challenges we face today have deep roots in the history and the contemporary contexts of our existence. Our presence in these hallowed grounds would be a testimony to our sacrifices and our strength is evidence of the reality that the North never gives up in what it believes in. We may falter and make poor choices. We may take our strengths and weaknesses for granted on occasions. We may be guilty of accommodating adversaries and confusing friends. But the North never stays what it is. By the grace of God and the determination of people in the North not to leave today's problems as legacies to the future generation, we will survive our current difficulties, and our people will know peace, security, unity, and prosperity. We chose to hold this summit at Ario House because it is a symbol of what defines us as Northerners. It captures the realities of our journey in Nigeria as a people, from the creation of the country to date. It embodies powerful lessons in the history of the role of our communities in the North, in the building of a country put together by the force of colonization. This house is where we are reminded of the indelible contributions of our resources as Northerners, which build resources of other Nigerians in colonial days. These premises remind us of strong leaders who stood stoutly and successfully against bullying and intimidation by other Nigerians. They remind us of the values of protecting what is ours, the vision which guided politics and policies that built our human capital, our economic and social infrastructure, and our hopes that we could compete well and live peacefully in a united country with other Nigerians. These buildings witnessed the murder of our leaders and the new democratic system which we Northerners helped to build. They remind us of tragic events that followed the misadventures of the early 1966. The heroic role of the North in salvaging the country from bigger disasters. The hundreds of thousands of Northern lives and limbs sacrificed to preserve an imperfect country, but one nonetheless that needed to be salvaged from short-sighted adventurers and opportunists. These buildings bear testimony to the fragmentation of the North from a region put together by colonial interest, but sustained by good leaders and an awareness of our place in Nigeria. This environment should remind us of legacies we should be proud of, mistakes we made, promises not kept, and promises that need to be made. This house of the Sardauna will work with the Tiv and the Kanuri, the Lupe and the Fulani, with Muslims and Christians without discrimination, does not remind us of a lost past. It is a strong reminder of an oath we must rebuild to recapture and surpass the past. Because without a stronger united North, there will be no certain future for all of us in Nigeria. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we have lamented enough. We have blamed each other for too long. We have been fighting the wrong enemy, and the real enemy has found accommodation and space amongst us. It is time to turn a new chapter in our lives. It is time to stop running and face our challenges squarely. It is time to tell ourselves some truth, heal wounds, and we engineer a resolve to stop the rot in the North. In this room today, we should make a solemn promise. From this point on, we will not accept to live with excuses. We will resist indifference and subversion. We will build bridges and not walls. We will begin a new chapter that should give new generations of Northerners hope, certainty, opportunities, and a sense of worth which they so richly deserve. Let us send signals to our young and the distressed fellow Northerners, and those who are fast losing hope, that all hope is not lost. We should remind our people of the history of a great region which stood tall on its feet and provided and protected its own people. To those who treat the North as the parasitic problem of Nigeria, we say, read your history. We read ours. And our history is very clear over the proud record of our forefathers in giving life to this country. We are the same people who stood for our interests and those of other Nigerians who needed our help and goodwill. And we will solve our problems, ideally with other Nigerians, or, if that is not possible, on our own. In this hall and outside it, we have people who are tired of living with insults from fellow Nigerians, attacks from rogue elements in our communities, and groups in other countries, in other parts of Nigeria, who seem to think that Northerners are expendable and stepping stones in pursuit of their political objectives. We should look deeply at the phenomenon of armed criminality in all its facets. We should be forthright with our opinions and advice. Those elements that show a genuine willingness to abandon criminality should be rehabilitated and integrated. Those who insist on pursuing criminality should be stoutly resisted by the Nigerian state and by our communities. Those who attack and kill Northerners must be stopped and prosecuted. The entire phenomenon of armed criminality requires bold steps and policies to deal with it. And we should examine these and make recommendations to those with responsibility to implement them. Even at this stage, however, I have to say that dealing with criminality, poverty, and destitution in the North will require a national effort to mitigate. The nation needs to prepare to consider massive investment in human capital development, infrastructure, and basic security, if it will reverse the rising tide of frustrations, destitution, and criminality which afflicts most of the North. Those who see this as an unnecessary concession to the region need to be reminded that this was precisely the approach that substantially resolved the Niger Delta militants. The North needs not to make this demand in hushed tones, nor apologize for it. Banditry, insurgency, cultism, piracy, and irredentism are threats to the nation, and they must be treated with a mindset that appreciates their roots, complexities, and solutions in a national context. As Northerners, we know that the roots of banditry in which Fulani are substantially involved has very young roots, and it is possible to eliminate it, provided we deploy resources and resourceful attitudes towards dealing with it. Federal and northern state governments should design and implement plans for the domestication of herders and improvements in the quality of life of Fulani herding communities. Boko Haram and armed Fulani criminal activities are not problems of the North, or the Kanuri, or the Fulani. They are national problems, and they threaten every Nigerian in equal measure. Those who think they can solve the criminality among elements of Fulani through ethnic cleansing make a terrible mistake. It is not just the Fulani with an AK-47 that needs to be eliminated. Every community harbors people who can buy AK-47s and do what the Fulani criminal does. The Nigerian state must come to terms with the reality that its legitimate monopoly over the use of violence has been severely damaged, and it cannot build strong fences around communities that give them a false sense of security. It is also time to evaluate the utility of our current security arrangements as a federal system, and address limitations which encourage the criminal to make us all victims without relief. This summit also plans to examine the issue of security as an issue in the context of the loud demands for revisiting our structures, systems, and processes in the country. It should now be a settled issue that Northerners want a thorough interrogation of our arrangements because they will benefit from the exercise and not as a concession to noisemakers who see it as a route to short-term political goals. The North would want to see a more serious attitude to re-engineering our federal system from our leaders. It is not acceptable that serious issues which represent genuine improvements in our governance structures should wait for the pleasure of our legislators or the presidency. We can vastly improve our mobilization of economic resources, reduce inefficiencies and waste, and improve effective governance if we take the issues of restructuring more seriously. Indeed, those we elected, in the event that those we elected to represent us believe that this is not what we need, Nigerians should encourage a citizen-driven review of our foundations and systems, and democratically put in place leaders who will address them as matters of national survival or collapse. In this respect, we should advise those who conflate the vital national imperative to restructure with issues of rotation or zoning the presidency to avoid doing major injury to the future of our nation, to our future as a nation. No one will quarrel with the decision of any political party to zone political offices and canvass for votes around them. Those parties who do this also have the responsibility to convince Nigerians over the utility and other values behind them. The basic rights of Nigerians to vote for candidates of their choices cannot be taken away by threats or blackmail. Northern voters have supported three Southerners, Abiola, Obasanjo, and Jonathan, to victory in the past, two of them against Northerners. Northern voters are enlightened and conscious of their responsibilities. They have learned, perhaps at greater cost than most Nigerians, that ethnicity and faith alone will not make good leaders. They will not accept to be further weakened so that they abandon the same rights all other Nigerians enjoy. Those politicians who want Northerners to vote in a particular manner should soil their boots and convince Northerners how their candidates will improve security, economy, and society in the North and in the country. Using restructuring as a threat or a bargaining tool for accepting zoning will destroy the imperatives of restructuring and imperiling the country. Politicians and leaders who desire to lead need to understand that Nigerians are watching what they do in their immediate constituencies that will entitle them to ask for our support. Politicians who cannot impose their influence on irredentists that threaten our corporate existence and the lives and livelihoods of our fellow Northerners stand on very thin ground in our estimation. Politicians who cannot or will not influence public sentiment, which demonizes our fellow Northerners and leaves them open to attack, will not weigh much in our consideration as leaders under whom we feel safe and secure. Politicians who want the support and vote of the Northerner, but will not raise their voices and act to protect him against undeserved treatment in areas where they have power and influence, should not expect to find our people with open arms when they ask for support. By the same token, no Northerner should assume that he is guaranteed the support and votes of Northerners simply because he is one of us. Our experiences have taught us the values of critical scrutiny of records. Our advice to all Nigerian politicians at this stage is to look around and see how much the ground has shifted from under their feet. There would be no longer business as usual. Nigerians running away from bullets, stressing to make ends meet, or being made to fight each other instead of the real enemy, will not forgive those who build the foundations of our circumstances today and seek to sustain their privileges over our fears and pains. Leadership has to emerge on the basis of different criteria. Only the best leadership can pull Nigeria from the brink. We recognize that this leadership has to have identities, but its quality must be preeminently the most significant criteria for its evaluation. Every zone or region has major problems. Leaders from these zones who will not address these problems alone or in collaboration with others should know that they will be judged by their records in dealing with threats and how they turn them into opportunities for rebuilding a nation that shows all the traces of major distress. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this summit will attempt to be constructive and responsible in assuming appropriate responsibility for contributing to find solutions. It is not enough anymore to upgrade our leadership for the wars of the North. If some of them have failed us, our response should be to work to reduce the damage of that failure and to put in place better quality of leaders in their places in future. We have been fortunate in having the best quality of intellect, experience, and commitment at this summit to do justice to the search for solutions to our problems. This summit is non-partisan and has been designed to specifically address our inherent plurality in the North. We should commit to be dispassionate and brave enough to acknowledge where the North bleeds and why. We must be mature enough to accept our limitations as a people and identify what our sources of strength are. We must give hope to Northerners that our current challenges will pass, inshallah. This summit should signal a new era in collaboration between those who hold power and those who have a duty to support them to succeed. We must send a signal, we must send a message to people who are bent on assaulting and killing our people that they are treading a very dangerous path and they must stop. It is not acceptable that innocent Northerners should be made pawns in political games because political elite cannot win support of their people without yielding grounds to thugs and political minions to intimidate northerners. It is not acceptable that any northerner should protect criminal Fulani, whether he operates in the north or south. And it is equally unacceptable that Fulanis who are not involved in criminal activities should be profiled, demonized, murdered, or expelled from communities. It is not acceptable that the state should tolerate growing irredentism, which holds communities hostage and threatens national security. The North wants peace, security, and economic progress. We believe it is possible to achieve these in a strong and united Nigeria. We do not need to apologize to any group for this, and we will express another opinion if that is what is best for the North. The North has paid a huge price for the survival and unity of Nigeria, and will continue to support this survival and unity to the degree that it serves everyone's interests. We are naturally worried over alarming rhetoric suggesting serious elite polarization and failure of the state to address basic elements that guarantee our coexistence. The North has its own issues with Nigeria, but we believe that they will be best addressed by Nigerians agreeing to collaborate and find solutions to them, as well as those of other regions. Groups that threaten to walk out of this union should read our history again. We have all contributed to the development of every inch of Nigeria, and no group should contemplate ceding with our Commonwealth. We do not see secession as a solution for any grievance, and we strongly advise our national leadership to take these threats with all the seriousness they deserve. This summit will be most fruitful if it elevates the concept and practice of justice as the foundational principle that should lead to the resolution of the most difficult challenges that confront our nation today. Virtually all communities and agreed parties in Nigeria point to the absence of justice in the manner we relate with each other or the Nigerian state.